Hot. Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Heather and as always I am reading with a vengeance and I hope you are as well. Today I am doing the book acquiring tag. The originator of this tag is Kristen over at Enter the Book. I will link her channel down below and I'll also try to link the original video for this tag. I was tagged by the very lovely Gloria at Gloria Z Thompson. Thank you so much for the tag, Gloria, and I love your channel. If you don't watch her, please go over there. But if you're watching me, chances are you've been watching her as well. So this tag basically is what it sounds like. It is your book acquiring habits. There are 10 questions. Let's get started. Question number 1 is, do you plan your book purchases ahead or impulse buy? So my book acquiring habits have evolved over the years. There was a time where I would go to the bookstore probably a couple of times a month and leave anywhere from between 8 and 10 books at a time. As I've gotten older, I've become a little bit more averse to acquiring stuff, not just books. Now, I know books are not just stuff. They are precious, precious objects. And I do enjoy having a personal library. I'd like to condense it a little bit, and I think I end up talking about that a little bit in one of the other questions below. So I don't acquire the books quite the same way that I used to. So I tend to do a combination of looking for a specific book and pulling one off the shelf just spontaneously. When I go to the library, it's usually because I'm looking for a specific book, but while I'm there, if I see something on the shelf that immediately floats my boat, then I'll grab it. I am not as much of an impulse buyer as I used to be. Question number 2 is, how do you decide what books to buy? So I'm going to take this question at its face, and that is what books not to acquire, but to buy specifically. If the book isn't available at my library, if it's not available on my Libby app, if it's not on sale on Kindle, then I will go purchase it if I need to read that book immediately, which doesn't happen very often. I can wait. In my age and wisdom, I have acquired some patience. Most of the time, it very rarely happens that there's a book that I need right now. Question number 3, what is your philosophy on where you shop? Online versus in person, large versus small, physical, digital, or audio, new versus used. So online versus in person. Obviously, I love to spend time at bookstores, whether it be the bigger chains or the smaller independent bookstores or a used bookstore. I love it all. I love to go in and run my fingers along the spines, and I love the feel of the different textures of different covers. One of the games that I really love to do when my husband and I are out and about and we both like to go into the bookstore, the one we have closest to us is, I think they call it BAM, which is an acronym for Books A Million. It's a pretty good size store. They don't just have books, they have games and puzzles, they have a cafe inside. And so sometimes when we're out and about and we're in the area of BAM, we will go in there and look around, have a coffee, look to see what's new and released. But one of the games that I really enjoy doing while I'm in a bookstore like that is I will pull up my Goodreads TBR, and I will just play a game of going down my list and saying, oh, I wonder if they have this one. Oh, I wonder if they have this one. And I find it. It's like a scavenger hunt of a sorts that I enjoy doing. I don't necessarily buy the book, but I like to say, oh, do they have it? Oh, they do. Cool. What's the next one? As far as buying books online, I think you're talking about to buy like a Kindle or a Nook book or anything like that. At least that's how I'm going to take it. And I'll buy a Kindle book if I need to read it right now. For example, I'm trying to get through the long list for the Women's Prize for Fiction, and many of them are not available at my library. So I happened to find 2 of them that were on sale. And what I mean by on sale, like $3 on Kindle. Salt Lick is on sale, and I got that one, and the Bread the Devil Need. Oh, yep, I scooped those up because I want to read them by the time the shortlist comes out at the end of this month. While I do prefer, when I am actually shopping for a book, I prefer to go to the smaller independent bookstores. But as far as perusing, I find that the independent bookstores don't have the selection, obviously, that a larger chain bookstore will have. I try not to hold that against them, but as far as looking for books and doing my little Goodreads game, I'm not quite as successful in the smaller independent bookstores. And I don't have one really close to me. So when I do actually travel outside of my little town, I do like to seek out the independent bookstores just to be able to go there. It's kind of, that's usually on my list of things to do whenever my husband and I travel. Whether it be a different city, a different state, or a different country, I like to see the bookstores of those geographic places. As far as how I consume books, I don't have a preference of physical, digital, or audio. I enjoy all of them. I will take it all in. And usually I was at one point having one of each medium going at once. But I find that I'm much more in my sweet spot when I have a book that I'm listening to and a physical book. As far as new or used, I really don't have a preference. Unless it's in tatters, I will take either one. Question number 4, what about little free libraries? What do you think about them? Have you used one? Why or why not? I love this question. I've been so excited about it because, let me give a little backstory first. I discovered a little free library for the first time probably in 2014, when we first moved to Connecticut-ish. I was walking my dog, I came across one, and I just thought it was one of those things that the owner of the house in the yard that it was in just did. And I thought, wow, what a great idea. And I would pass it every day, and I just thought it was the cutest thing, but I didn't know it was a thing. And then we moved away, and then we came back to Connecticut in 2019, and I can't remember how I found it again, but then I saw another one, and then that's when I noticed the little plaque that they have on there that has the little free library insignia on there and the charter number. And so then I looked online, and I'm like, it's this whole thing that they are worldwide. And then it became a hobby of mine. My husband, his hobby is riding motorcycles. And so I told him, yes, I will go on rides with you, but we have to have a destination. Of course, my husband likes to ride just to ride, where I need to either go to a bookish related location or an ice cream related location. So one of the things that we started doing 2 summers ago, I would look up on the website of the Little Free Library website, and they have a map, and you can look up all the different little free libraries, and we would set kind of a map of, okay, well, where do you want to ride today? Okay, that's where you want to go? Let's see. Oh, there's a little free library here, here, and there. And we would route our motorcycle ride to go to these little free libraries, and I would pack a couple of books, and I would go and do my trades, and it was so much fun. It kind of became a little bit of a series on my Bookstagram account, where every so often, once or twice a week, I would post a photograph of a little free library that I discovered. And then I can't remember if it was last summer. My birthday's in August, and I can't remember if it was last birthday or the birthday before. My husband got me my own little free library, and it is right out in our front yard. And it was one of the best gifts I've ever gotten. I will pop in a picture here. I absolutely love it. I am a steward, if you will, of a little free library of my own. And Gloria, I know you mentioned in your video that you want to have one day. So you can either buy the kit on the website, and they can be kind of pricey, but it comes with everything, the post, and you can decorate it yourself, and it's really great. Or you could just make one yourself or repurpose something to turn it into a little free library, and it's only, I want to say, $40 or $50 to register it on the website so that people can find yours on a map. So you don't necessarily have to buy a kit from them. It just makes it easier. But anyways, my husband bought me one. I have one. If you have a yard out front or just some space out in front of your house to pop one up, or highly recommend it. It's so fulfilling, and I just love it. So anyways, that's how I feel about little free libraries. Question number 5. How do you feel after acquiring a book? Do you share it like in a book haul or a diary? Okay, so when I acquire a book, I usually, if I buy it, I created a shelf on my Goodreads page that is my home library, so that I can keep track of what books I already have, so that I don't check out a book that I already have in my library. and so on. So when I buy a book, I'll add it to my library. When I buy one or acquire one in my digital library, like on my Kindle or Nook, I have a little electronic library in my Goodreads page as well. So as you'll notice, while I am a fairly new booktuber, I probably won't be doing too many book haul videos just because I just don't haul a bunch of books. I might do one if I happen to check out a bunch at one time from the library. I might do that, but you won't see too many of those videos on my channel. So in short, I use my Goodreads quite often, and that's how I log all my bookish activity. Question number 6. How do you feel looking at your books that haven't been read? Does it matter if it's currently a lot or little amount? So I have about 115, I want to say, books, physical books in my personal library here at home. I would like to get that condensed. I would like to read this down to about, say, 50, and that's an arbitrary number. I just want to get it condensed because I feel a little bit overwhelmed. It's nice to have that selection when I'm mood reading and I don't know what I want to read next, and I kind of peruse my shelves and say, oh, this one looks good. But sometimes it can also be overwhelming. So keeping it at around 50 so that once it gets below 50, then maybe I can get some newer books, new used books to add to my library just to have. I'd like to continue to have a library, but just a smaller one. So as far as how I feel when looking at my books, I love looking at my books. Are you kidding me? I mean, who doesn't like looking at their books? I feel very fortunate that I'm able to have a personal library. Very fortunate. I try not to take it for granted. So I imagine that there might be some people who feel overwhelmed if they have a lot of books in their library. I rarely feel overwhelmed by it, mostly appreciative. Question number 7, how do you decide what number of unread books is the right amount? I don't really focus on the numbers. I focus more on the space it takes in my house. Like I said, I'm really trying to downsize. My husband and I will probably be moving in about a year. We'll be downsizing. Again, I don't take that for granted. I feel very fortunate for what we have, but I feel like the more space you have, the more you're apt to fill that space with stuff, and I'm trying to get away from that. Where I do focus on the numbers, I guess, on my Goodreads TBR, I try to keep it, and this is again another arbitrary number, I try to keep the books that I want to read on my want to read shelf down under 450. It's at 440 right now. And like I said earlier, I try to go through there periodically to see books that I added maybe 10 years ago that don't appeal to me anymore. I don't want to go much or over 450 because then I did the math too of how long it would reasonably take me to read 450 books. And I mean, at least 5 years. So really, I really want to keep that number. Question number 8. Do you have a TBR game or process for reading them? Not typically. Like I said, the game that I brought up earlier before as far as when I go into a bookstore, but as far as what I read each month, mostly I'm a mood reader. I just like to read by the seat of my pants, if you will. However, or if you didn't watch my TBR video that I did earlier this month, I wanted to do a game just as an experience, just to see if I would enjoy it, to see if I would be successful at it. And I looked online, I just put in, I think I put in like TBR game or help me choose what I read or something like that. But what came up was the TBR machine. And I think it is just tbrmachine.com. I'll link it down below. This was created by Penelope over at Penelope the Paperback Cat. Her channel, I'll link her channel down below. She's a delight. And she created this website, and basically you just open it up. I can't remember if she has an app. I just go on the website and you just click the button and it comes up with a prompt. And so that's what I did in my TBR video, and I had a lot of fun, and that's how I chose these books. So far, that's the only time I've planned a TBR. Sometimes I'll spontaneously add a book to my TBR if I've watched a booktuber and they've raved about a book and it just sparked something in me and that I have to read it right now. If you want to consider that a process for reading. I feel like I'll be more successful at setting a TBR when I don't have, like right now I'm trying to get through the long list for the Women's Prize for Fiction, so that's kind of getting in the way of successfully getting through a TBR, but I'm working on it. Question number 9. Do you have a book buying problem? If so, what is the nature of it and can it be adjusted? Book buying problem. I feel like that is a contradiction in terms. Is it a problem? I don't think so. I guess the nature of this question is, are you a compulsive book buyer and has it become a problem to your pocketbook? And like I said, I used to compulsively buy books and have more books in my house than I could ever possibly read in a lifetime. I don't have that habit, if you will, anymore. I do think I have I hesitate to call it a problem. I have a library book checkout habit. I go to the library at least 3 times a week, and I just pull stuff off the shelves and check them out. And if I am able to read them by the time they're due, great. If not, it's just so much fun to walk out of an establishment with a stack of books, didn't cost a penny, and it's just so satisfying. I love it. So not a problem. However, it is hindering my home library condensing project. So like for instance, I think every single book that I read in March was a library book, so I didn't condense my home library at all. So, And then finally, question number 10 isn't a question at all. It's tag some folks who might want to do this tag. So for this challenge, if you haven't done it already, I challenged Nikki at Red Dot Reads. She's fabulous. Absolutely love her. The second person I tagged is Penelope over at Penelope the Paperback Cat. As I said earlier, she's a delight to watch. And finally, I tagged Samantha at Samantha Barthay. She has a channel that I've recently discovered and I'm enjoying very much. No pressure whatsoever. I am learning that tags come up all the time and sometimes it can be a bit much to record all the tagging videos. So no pressure whatsoever. But if you're interested in recording your book acquiring habits, I would love to hear about them. If you have a bookish channel and you think that this tag is something that you would want to do, please consider yourself tagged. I love watching book tag videos, so jump on this train with us. And that's it. Those are my answers to the book acquiring tag. Thank you again, Gloria, for tagging me. If you are still watching, I'd really appreciate you giving that like button a boop and possibly subscribing to my channel. It really is appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.